All right, question 20. We're given two figures here on the coordinate plane. Looks like kites. And it says figure 1 goes through a transformation to form figure 2. Which of the following descriptions correctly describes the transformation? So in transformation, we're talking about, let's take a little mini lesson on these. We're talking about reflections as figures move either across the y-axis, going from one side to the other, across the x-axis, or they can move across the x and across the y-axis both. Those are reflections, and if you'll think about a reflection in the mirror, it should look backwards. All right, and then there's also rotations, which means that a figure would move either clockwise or counterclockwise. There are translations, which, and then it tells you what to do in the translation, but the translation means that you move the figure either left or right according to what it says, or you move the figure up, or you move the figure down. That is translating a figure. Another one that we don't see here in the answer choices is a dilation. You think about dilating your pupils, and you dilate, and the figure gets either larger, or the figure gets smaller. One of those two would be an example of a dilation. So we want to know what happened here to this kite. Well, the kite has flipped from being straight up and down. We'll say the top. So the top is now flipped over to where it is the bottom, and the bottom has become the top. So it is in opposite the way it was. So that would be a reflection. And now we just need to determine, was it across the x-axis or across the y-axis? They label the axis for us, and we can see that the figure did not move across the y-axis. The figure, in fact, moved from quadrant 2 and flipped across into quadrant 3, so it went across the x-axis. And find our little highlighter pen over here, and the reflection was across the x-axis. If the reflection had been across the y-axis, it would have flipped from this quadrant 2, it would have flipped over into quadrant 1, or it would have flipped across the y-axis. A rotation, it would have spun clockwise, goes the same way a clock goes. Or translation down 2 units means that the bottom of the figure would have, in the whole entire figure itself, but the bottom of it would have moved down 2 whole units on the grid. And that is a short mini lesson in the answer to that question on transformations.